Some of us keep asking God why we're so empty, why we're alone, why we're still single. And his response is probably because you keep trying to drink from something that was never meant to satisfy you. Welcome back to Get Outside Today. My name is Dominic. This is episode 32. Love from a guy's perspective. Counterfeit love is what we're talking about today. This is the second episode in my new series where we're talking about love. We're defining love. We're talking about love. We're trying to find how we can love better, why we haven't loved so well in the past, and we're redefining it. We want to bring some life back into this word. In this series, we are going through the book of John, and today we're going to be talking about the woman at the well. I hope you guys are doing well. I have been going through it, ups and downs, wondering what I'm doing next, feeling like there's a transition coming, knowing there's a transition coming, needing a change. I've been feeling stale, as my friend put it. I need a change. And my ideas of what's happening next have changed every single day. But things are moving forward. And this might be, I don't know how many more episodes we're going to have with this background. I'm going to have to create a new podcast studio if I go somewhere else. I'm not sure where yet. But I am excited. I have such high expectations and hopes and anticipation for what God's going to do next in this next stage of life. The biggest things I'm going to be pursuing is just community, leveling up everything that I'm doing with people around me. My hope and my prayer is to be surrounded by like-minded creators. How fun would that be? To be in a space where people are doing the same things and working for similar goals. Or just people that are just ambitious in general. That's what I'm excited for. That's a little bit of an update here in the podcast. More updates, more in depth, more behind the scenes, more real raw content is on my website within my Good Days Collective space. This is something that I have recently launched, and it's a subscription experience with behind the scenes content, devotionals, podcast guidebook. Every single podcast episode that I've done has a guidebook with more in-depth journal questions, main points, just to help you take these and make them personal for you. They're all on my website. That will be linked down below. Join the Good Days Collective today for more in-depth growth, to be challenged. I'm offering 1 month free. Your first month is absolutely free. I'll put the codes down below in the description. You put in that code at checkout and that first month is free to at least check it out. At least see if it's worth it. I promise you, I'm doing all of this with you in mind. There's going to be some extra content from this episode, behind the scenes, from setting all this up, from telling you why I picked what I wore today. I mean, that's some of the type of content that's on there. But also, I'm going to be recording a coaching video along with this. That'll be in there. A chance for you to grow. Are you ready to level up this year? It's just time. It is time. In our last episode, the first episode of this series, we defined love. We tried to figure out what the world is telling us love is versus what our definition of love might be versus what Jesus' definition of love is. Culture and our feelings might tell us different. Our situationships from the past might have told us different. But I feel like after the first episode, we have a pretty clear-cut definition of what love is. Patient, kind, sacrificial, faithful, truthful, steady. And so today we're getting into why we keep chasing the wrong type of love. Another one of those episodes, another one of these intros where you're probably just like, no thanks. Please, why are we going back to these things again? Why do I have to go there? But we are. Because it's time to heal. It's time to move on, move past, and be our healthiest version of ourselves. I feel like a lot of us have gotten to a point where we don't even want love. But I think that's not the actual root of the problem. I think we just keep going back to the wrong source of love. We keep going back to this well to try to satisfy us, and we're not finding love there. Looking back, a lot of the times, maybe I didn't even fall into love. I just fell into a pattern. Some of us weren't dating someone. We were dating the same wounds, just in a different outfit. We were trying to fix things within ourselves through somebody else, hoping that they would be our source, and we were left with a hurtful, a discouraging definition of love. If you have said, why does this keep happening to me? This episode's for you. We will break this episode into 3 main parts. The first one is the counterfeit. We'll talk about the world's version of love, why chemistry, attention, validation, and emotional highs can feel like love even when they aren't actually healthy. Part 2, we'll talk about the well. We'll walk through John 4 and the woman at the well, looking how Jesus meets her in the middle of her thirst, her patterns, her relationship history, without shaming her. It's so beautiful. I'm so excited to get into this story. This story has so much more than what it says on the surface, and I'm excited to get into the depths of that story. And then part 3, the invitation. We'll ask the honest question, what is your well? And what do you keep going back to when you feel lonely, unseen, or unwanted? We'll look how Jesus offers living water, not just temporary, but something that's actually real, actually healing. You're not wrong for wanting love. You may just be going back to the wrong well, looking for it. So before we get into John 4, I want you to think about what has been your patterns of love. The same types of people you've dated, the same outcomes, the same struggles, the same things that you have fallen into. But let's separate you from the people that you've dated. Not just the people that have hurt you, not just the people that have ghosted you, but we're looking at your patterns, wondering why you kept going back to that certain type of person, wondering why you kept falling for that one phrase that kept bringing you back. That's what we're diving into today. Why do you keep going back to those same things, those same patterns again and again? You're blaming other people, but why do you keep going back to that? I think that's the real root here. It's less about them, but it's more about, why do I keep going back to that? Is it attention, validation, physical intimacy, emotional intensity, being needed? What's hard about this counterfeit love is that a lot of the times on the surface, at the beginning, it doesn't look so bad. It honestly looks like you might be helping this person, or it just genuinely feels good. You feel this connection at the beginning, of course. We get this feeling of butterflies. We get so into our feelings, and it's hard to realize that we might be falling into this same well yet again. So before we get into John 4, I just want to pray. God, show us the same wells that we keep going back into. God, help us find a deeper satisfaction, a deeper fullness, a deeper intimacy with you rather than this water that only satisfies for such a short amount of time. We want something that lasts. So God, we are asking that you meet us at our well. God, we are open to you and your invitation of this living water. Amen. I know a lot of y'all are thinking about a couple names right now. Don't text them. Just sit with it. Don't text them. Boundaries are important. You can forgive somebody. We can move on from these wells without having to text them. Counterfeit love. Whatever feels good, whatever feels right, wherever the butterflies are. Chase your heart. Chase your feelings. Counterfeit love. We get sold on that so much. We fall into that so many times. We feel lonely. Something feels good. We chase that feeling. But is it actually love? Culture loves to tell us to chase this high. The high of being wanted. The high of this attention. The high of 15 minutes of fame. The high of someone choosing you. The high of someone finally texting you back. The high of physical connection. Feeling seen for 5 minutes, 5 months. And that high can absolutely feel like love. I have been in this, where that 5-month high feels like love. A lot of us can put on a mask for 5 months, 3 to 5 months. We can be somebody else. But around that time, that's where some feelings start to fade. That's where the act struggles to hold up. This is when counterfeit love is giving a moment but not peace. It's giving you a lot of attention but not true intimacy. It gives you chemistry but not commitment. There's probably a lot of excitement, but maybe not a lot of security. You can feel so excited about, the life of the party, but behind closed doors, you might not be feeling a lot of security. It gives you enough for you to keep coming back, but not enough to fully satisfy you. The amount of times that I have kept coming back and been left feeling empty, coming back into their problems, their issues, being the one for them, trying to satisfy them, but never being able to fully do it because the next day they have the same problems again, or it's something else that they're struggling with, that they're complaining about, that you're not doing enough. And we have kept coming back. Why? Why? Why do we keep falling into these patterns? What's sometimes so scary about counterfeit love is that a lot of the times it's not completely fake. It's like just close enough to the real thing that it's dangerous. It looks so good. It feels so good. But when it comes down to it, to the hard conversations, to the longevity, that's where it misses the mark. And this is why John 4 is so powerful. Let's get into John 4, the woman at the well. Maybe one of the most underrated stories about Jesus. Everyone knows about it. I don't know if it's underrated, but sometimes it's not like a huge miracle, but the meaning and the depth of it is life or death. So we are reading John 4. We're going to start in verse 4. If you have your Bible, feel free to read along with me. He had to go through Samaria on the way. Eventually he came to the Samaritan village of Sychar, near the field that Jacob gave to his son Joseph. Jacob's well was there, and Jesus, tired from a long walk, sat wearily beside the well about noontime. Soon a Samaritan woman came to draw water, and Jesus said to her, "Please, give me a drink." He was alone at the time because his disciples had gone into the village to buy some food. The woman was surprised, for Jews refused to have anything to do with Samaritans. She said to Jesus, "You are a Jew, and I am a Samaritan woman. Why are you asking me for a drink?" Jesus replied, "If you only knew the gift God has for you and who you are speaking to, you would ask me, and I would give you living water." "But sir, you don't have a rope or a bucket," she said. "And this well is very deep. Where would you get this living water? And besides, do you think you're greater than our ancestor Jacob, who gave us this well? How can you offer better water than he and his sons and his animals enjoyed?" Jesus replied, "Anyone who drinks this water will soon become thirsty again. But those who drink the water I give will never be thirsty again. It becomes a fresh, bubbling spring within them, giving them eternal life." "Please, sir," the woman said, "give me this water, that I'll never be thirsty again, and I won't have to come here to get water." "Go and get your husband," Jesus told her. "I don't have a husband," the woman replied. Jesus said, "You're right. You don't have a husband, for you have had 5 husbands, and you aren't even married to the man you're living with now. You certainly spoke the truth." So Jesus goes out of his way to meet this Samaritan woman in the middle of the day. A lot of that is important. So Jesus going out of his way for the one. We see that over and over and over. How beautiful. He's going out of his way for you to meet one person. And during the middle of the day. This is not a time that the woman would go fetch water. They would go early in the morning when it was cool, because it was a hike away and it's hot. So she's there in the middle of the day, probably because of some shame, some guilt, some insecurity, not wanting to deal with the whispers of her community, judging her for her past life, for the life that she's living, for her past husbands. Yet Jesus meets her there, not in the temple, as she was, not when she finally cleaned up her act, not when she was finally married. He meets her in a place of need. And that is love. Jesus initiates his conversation with, "Can I have a drink?" Something ordinary. He doesn't open up with, "Let's talk about your 5 past relationships." Because if he did, a lot of us would have been sprinting out of there. No, he starts with something inviting, something ordinary. He starts with thirst. And that's the theme of this story, the theme of the message he is about to deliver. Physically, she's drawing water, but emotionally, spiritually, relationally, she's thirsty. She's been trying to satisfy something so deep with something temporary. And before we judge her, let's be honest, we've all done this. We've all experienced this. We've all tried to just put a Band-Aid on deeper wounds, going back to the things that satisfy in the short term. So what have been your wells? What is your well? Is it attention, dating apps, someone who only texts you when they're bored, achievement being desired, or fantasizing about people that don't really even care about you, that only give you time of day when they're available, when they're bored? Some of us are planning weddings with people that we barely even know. We've barely had a real conversation with these people, yet we're planning our whole future with somebody. I've been there. I've been there. And Jesus is like, these things are not going to satisfy you. This well is not going to satisfy you. Then Jesus says, if you knew who I was, you'd be asking me for the living water. This is where it shifts. This is where she's looking for something temporary, and Jesus is offering a literal well within inside her. That's with her for the rest of her life, the ever-satisfying, thirst-quenching, living well. She keeps coming back to the well because she's thirsty. Jesus is offering something that she'll never have to come back for. She'll never have to settle for. She'll never have to be ashamed or guilty for. And she's thinking about just physical water this whole time, and Jesus is talking about her soul. She's thinking about this temporary, this short-term satisfaction to get her through the rest of the day. But Jesus is talking about eternity. She's thinking, make my life easier. Avoiding the people. Willing to go in the middle of the day when it's hot. Avoiding the whispers and the shame and guilt. But Jesus is saying, let me make you whole again. Counterfeit love says, come back tomorrow. Jesus says, I got you for eternity. Counterfeit love keeps us dependent. Jesus just says, I got you. I got you. I am the Messiah. I am the living water. I am the living spring inside of you. So what are those things that you keep coming back to? What are those things that you are dependent on? For me, a lot of my life, I have been so dependent on being someone's Jesus, honestly. Straight up. I have wanted to pull them out of their depression, out of their unhappiness, out of their past. I wanted to redefine love for them. I wanted to show them to me. I wanted them to bring them to me into my comfort, into my love, because I felt that I can love so well. I can see you, hear you. I can be there for you. I'll sacrifice my things for you. And I thought that was love. Sacrificial love. I really did. Over and over again. Giving them my everything. Yet all these relationships kept falling short. Yet they were still not satisfied. They were still mad at me. I was still disappointing them. Yeah, probably from a lack of communication, but also because I just couldn't be their Jesus. They needed the living water. They needed the spring inside of them, outside of me, to fully satisfy. And the same thing goes for me. I've needed Jesus to fully satisfy me and not helping other people as my well. I needed to seek Jesus first with my things, my pride, that he would be my everything. Not me satisfying other people being my everything, not seeing other people be happy because of the way I love them. That became my God. Which is hard because it feels right. It feels good. It feels like you are helping somebody. You're probably genuinely showing them a love they've never experienced before. But when that becomes a little bit of an idol, that becomes the foundation of the relationship, is them expecting you to be there for them again and again and show up for them. The moment that you're struggling with something and you can't be there for them and you expect them to help you, they've never learned to do that in the relationship. There's a disconnect there. And that's where you're going to disappoint them. Because now you're struggling and they don't know how to help you because all you've done is help them. That's my experience. It goes both ways, right? They were looking for someone to fix them. I was looking to fix them. And in that, we were just so lost in each other, we missed out on the living water. We were each other's wells. Diving back into the story, in verse 16, Jesus says, "Go and get your husband." She says, "I don't have a husband," the woman replied. Jesus said, "You're right, for you've had 5. And in this, you might say, okay, well, is Jesus exposing her? Is this kind of taking a little bit of a shot, trying to make her feel guilty or shameful about it? I don't think so. I think Jesus honestly just gets right to the point to heal her. I feel like all the other women at the well, when she'd go in the morning, would whisper and be gossiping about her and saying things that were just maybe untrue or exaggerated, things that maybe were true, calling out the places where she's fallen short, calling her names. But instead, Jesus calls out the truth in order to heal her. He doesn't gossip. He doesn't put her down. He's calling out a fact to heal her. And that's the difference there. A lot of times gossip gets to be something that is exaggerated, things that might not be true. This was true. This was fact. And sometimes we have to be honest with ourselves, with our sin, with the way that we're living, with these lies. We have to face them head on. Now, you've had 5 husbands. You've struggled with your relationships. You've tried to become me. You've tried to become Jesus in your relationships. It's calling it straight out. And that's where we're going to find this healing, is by addressing it, calling it by name. Jesus, again, goes to the truth. He brings out the truth not to expose her, but because he wants her to be fully healed. He wants her to move on from this. Jesus sees the whole story, not the edited version, not the church version, not the version that you tell people that you actually did text them back. No. The cold, hard truth. He sees it all, and yet he stays. And that's love. He doesn't ignore her pattern, nor does he reduce her to it. He tells the truth without crushing her. She has been crushed time and again by these past relationships that she was in, by her peers, by her community. But Jesus sees her with love. God's conviction is not rejection. It's in an effort to heal. It's in an effort to move on from this guilt and shame. He's not trying to embarrass you. This episode is not trying to embarrass you. My goal is to help you be free. Jesus wants to free you. We're calling these things out in truth in order to be freed. So why do we keep going back to this well? Why do we keep entertaining counterfeit love again and again? Because it's something that's fast. Culture loves to sell something that's quick. Every single technology is meant to help you do it faster, quicker, more efficiently. And it's hard because love is just not meant to be that way. I think that's where a lot of instant love things like dating apps, things like that, it's just a quick bam. All of a sudden we can just be on our first date and we can be in love so quickly. Fast attention, comfort, validation, fast escape, fast intimacy without vulnerability, without being vulnerable, without having real conversations, without actually telling the truth right away. Fast connection without real commitment. Real love requires patience, not love bombing. Patience and bombing, different. Real love requires you to be known, not just wanted. Wanted feels good. Wanted feels like love, but real love is being known. And that takes time and patience. That's terrifying for a lot of people. A lot of people don't want to get back into the dating scene because feeling known is so vulnerable. Being wanted feels good. I think some of us would rather be desired than actually seen, because we might have these wounds of when we were actually vulnerable, we were rejected. But that was less because of you and more about the well that you were going back to. You just met the wrong people at the well. You met the community that was pointing fingers at the well and not Jesus. If someone desires you, you can still perform. But if someone actually sees you, now you have to be honest. And we struggle with that. In a world of cover photos, in a world of social media, in a world of quick swipes, the highlights, being known, being seen has become more of a foreign thing. Has become something that's difficult and a little scary. Again, you're not wrong for wanting love, for having this deep down craving for love. We've just gone back to the wrong well time and time again. We've been trying to find these quick fixes to help us with our loneliness. We see social media, people are just getting married, engaged, having families, and it looks like a quick fix. You're seeing people there, but you have to understand there's a process that goes into this. You see people at the summit of Mount Everest, but a lot of times you don't see the journey that it took to get there, the years of preparation. There was a guy that deleted all of his social media because he saw a video from the top of Mount Everest. He's like, I shouldn't be able to see that. I didn't climb up there. I didn't spend the money. I didn't spend the hours and years training for that. We see so many end products. We fall into comparison. We're exposed to so many things that we were not meant to see, honestly. And that's where we seek this counterfeit love, are in these things, these quick fixes. But Jesus is offering us an eternal spring, an eternal well that satisfies every time. Counterfeit love says, I'll make you feel wanted for a moment. Jesus says, I want you to be fully known. Counterfeit love says, hide the messy parts so they don't leave. Jesus says, bring the truth into the light. Counterfeit love says, you're only valuable if people choose you. Jesus says, I already chose you. Counterfeit love says, you need them to make you whole. You can't be whole if you're not single. What are you doing? You're not in a relationship. You're missing out. Jesus says, let me make you whole. Counterfeit love uses your thirst, your vulnerability, your guilt, your shame, but Jesus heals it. Counterfeit love keeps having you come back feeling empty, but Jesus becomes the source within you, even if you're not at the well. No matter where you're at, Jesus is the source of living water within you. What's wild about this story of the woman at the well in John 4 is that in the end, she actually leaves her jug of water behind. It's the details. Listen, she came to be satisfied. She was looking for that quick fix. But after meeting Jesus, she leaves with the thing that she came to find, yet left it behind. How beautiful is that? And that is how our lives work when we meet Jesus. We're searching and searching and searching for these things. We try all these different things, and when we meet Jesus, we continue on without all those things anymore. We view the world in such a different way. We realize the things that didn't satisfy along the way, and we leave them behind. And that's what happens when you encounter real love. You stop needing the things that you thought that you couldn't live without. And when she runs back into town, she also says, telling everybody, come and see the man who told me everything I ever did. Not the one who shamed me, who made me feel guilty. In that moment, she finally felt known rather than feeling condemned. She came feeling isolated, neglected, alone. And she left feeling so seen. And that's what real love does. So here's a question for all of us. What's your well? What are the things that you keep going back to find this quick fix? What have been your patterns in relationships, in finding love, even in friendships? What have been your wells? What do you keep reaching for when you feel unseen or lonely or unworthy? What do you use to feel chosen? I know this can be heavy, but this is where healing starts. With honesty. Jesus says, I know you've had 5 husbands. I know, but you've been trying to save people. You've been trying to be me. You've been on dating apps, like, scrolling. You've been binging. You've been dating people that you've been trying to fix. You've dated projects, people that you thought that you could fix on your own. You weren't willing to have hard conversations. You just wanted things to be surface level. You wanted to feel beautiful, but not feel known. Some of us keep praying for God to bless something that He's trying to heal us from. God, bless my next relationship. Now, how about we change that prayer and God, help me heal from my past relationships. Help me heal from this unworthiness and this brokenness. Help me heal from going to this well over and over and over and trying to find this thing that satisfies. God, come with me in this journey, in this healing journey. God, why am I falling into these patterns again and again? Heal that, heal the root of that. Some of us keep asking God why we're so empty, why we're alone, why we're still single. And His response is probably because you keep trying to drink from something that was never meant to satisfy you. That's not condemnation either. It's not guilt, it's not shame. This is an invitation. This week, I want you to identify your well, your history. It's time to actually figure out what went wrong and speak truth over it. Be honest about it. Address it. We're not avoiding it. No more of this just avoidance. No more going back into these same habits, these quick fixes. It's time to be known. I want you to write down some of these questions and think about these in the coming weeks. Where do I go when I feel lonely? Who do I run to when I need validation? What kind of attention do I mistake for love? What patterns keep repeating in my relationships? What am I afraid would happen if I stopped going back to that well? God, show us what we've been going back to try to satisfy us. Help these past patterns of seeking the world that was never meant to satisfy us. God, we are open and ready for your invitation of this living spring inside of us, God, this living water, because we're done. We're done with these other wells that have left us feeling so alone and so broken, even in relationship. Because the only relationship that satisfies is you. So let you be the thing that we run to first, God. Amen. So we had a write-in for this episode. We are starting the write-ins once again. Guys, if you want to write in for this series about love with your past history, biggest tips and advice, dating tea, relationship tea, love, whatever. Anything. I'm going to put that link down below, right into the podcast. You can make it anonymous. We had a write-in for this series. Thank you so much. It means a lot. This one is from Amanda. Hot take incoming. Oh boy. There is no circumstance where a situationship is a good idea. Is that a hot take? Maybe. But I stand by it 10 toes down. You're either in a committed relationship or you're messing around. I'll see myself out. Feel free to reach out with any clarifying questions or further statements. XOXOXO. Sincerely, a girl who learned this the hard way. Situationship. Again, that is a well that just satisfies today. That's it. Situationships aren't willing to have hard conversations, aren't willing to be known. Let's have a little fling and let's have small talk, have this intimacy, whatever it is, physically, emotionally. It just covers up. That is a definition. A situationship is a Band-Aid. That's not going to heal. Who else has been in a situationship? Or even a relationship that didn't feel like a situationship, but the more you thought about it, on the other side of it, it 100% was that. It was kind of just blowing past all of the real things, trying to get to the end goal as quickly as possible. Potentially your situationship could have been a love bombing. Who's been there? Situationship is the definition of going to the well in the middle of the day by yourself, alone, not having to deal with these other voices to go find a quick temporary fix. And my prayer for you is that Jesus will meet you in that. He'll catch ya. That's my prayer for you. If you're in a situationship, thinking about it, that's my prayer for you. Counterfeit love, situationships keep us thirsty enough to keep coming back. But Jesus offers living water so that you don't have to keep returning to what is empty. Again, you're not wrong for wanting love. You're not crazy for wanting connection. This is not a unfamiliar desire. We all crave this feeling, this longevity, this long-term relationship. You're not crazy for that. But we're all a little crazy for going back to the same well that left us feeling empty the last time. It's time for us to call this out by name and let Jesus be our living water. John 4, the woman at the well. God, I thank you for your living water. The next episode will be about John 6. We're talking about when Jesus says, I am the bread of life, breaking that down, getting more into that. And we'll dive into why nothing ever feels like it's enough. We get there and it's never enough. And then we get there and it's never enough. That's what we're talking about in the next episode of this series. Love from a guy's perspective. Thank you so much for listening to this episode and that first episode. Go listen to that one if you haven't yet. And this is my invitation for you to join the Good Days Collective. You'll see more content behind this podcast, behind the scenes, coaching videos that will help you elevate your life with small daily practical steps. We're not talking huge changes. We're talking small 1% changes that will one day get you there. Podcast guidebooks for this episode. It is out right now, available through the Good Days Collective. Again, the codes are down below. First month is free. First month is absolutely free on me. Sign up with those codes. At least check it out. Again, all of this content that I'm making is built with you in mind because you are so worth the 1% each and every day. As every day, get outside today. Yes. That was a good one. This series is good. This series is something that I also have needed as I have been, as you guys know, my definition of love